Hello, fellow creatives, and welcome back. Yesterday was a busy day, so I didn't have a chance to stream, but today I'm back to our sci-fi pilot helmet guy, and let's get back to it, shall we? So I did a little bit of cleanup and added some panels here and there, but all of it was very simple. There's nothing really new aside from the stuff that I already covered in the previous couple streams. But then I get to this part, which is like this headphones piece, and it is fairly complex. And the reason it's so complex is because there's a lot of plane changes and a lot of intersecting, not intersecting, intersecting pieces of geometry. So there's this plane over here. Let me just grab a mat cap that shows the planes better. No, what I'm doing. Materials. And let's go for something like Crease. Okay, so there's this plane, then there's intersecting this part, and then I also kind of want a little bit of a slant on the side, and then I want like a more hard edge at the front, and then there's this piece of geometry, and I also want like a little bit of a slant on this face. Basically, yeah, like a lot of complexity here, and I kind of started cleaning it up using the same approach as I was using for the rest of these guys, which is extracting and then using booleans to kind of clean the borders. But really, the more I work that way, the more I realize that okay, well, this is good, but it takes like forever. It's almost like I'm taking the longer way to get to the same result. If I was using just very simple cubes and kind of just did a standard box modeling approach by extruding some faces and moving some verts around, I feel like I'd be able to approach this exact same result much faster. And this, like, I spent like maybe, I don't know, probably a good half an hour trying to figure out how I take something like this and get to something like this. And that, like, it happens frequently when you're using you get a hang of when you're introduced to a new set of tools. You almost feel like you're obligated to use them for everything because they're so new and awesome. That's why I was like kind of forcing this new approach for this piece of geometry. But now that I think about it, let's go ahead and recreate the shape that I have here from scratch using just the box modeling here in Zbrush. All right, so where do we start? So this is a mesh with multiple subdivisions, and in order to insert something, I don't need that many. So I'm just well, I can't have subdivisions in order to insert stuff. So I'll just grab a backup piece of geometry that has the same headphone piece, and let's start by just inserting a box. And I'll use the new insert primitives brush, which is right here. And we're gonna use a box. Let's look at it, and you can see like the topology on it is not optimal, which is fine. We can always replace it with this nice shiny thing. Okay, so looking at this piece of geometry, and let me just grab I'll grab my original concept sketch so I can look at it on my other screen. And if you haven't seen it, this is basically the concept sheet. So what I'm gonna do is basically looking at this loose sketch and comparing it to what I have as a 3D model, or like as a 3D sculpt, quick 3D sculpt, and kind of trying to identify how many edge loops I need to minimum amount of edge loops required to create this shape. And that's what I'm gonna do, but my Photoshop froze and I can't move it off. So, yeah. Come on, Photoshop. Alright. Well, Photoshop is unfreezing. Let's see, so could probably use 5 here, and then we probably need just 2. And then in terms of depth, it's going to be very simple. And I can always add more later. Alright, that's good. So move it. And what I want to do in this in the sculpt, this headphone shape is on an angle on more than just one axis. It's kind of slanted here, and it's also slanted down. But for the time being, just to make the process simpler, I'll just model it as a straight without any rotations, and then in the end, once I have the kind of the shape I'm happy with, I'll bring it in and position it to match my rough sculpt. So let's say that's what I want. And I'm gonna split hidden, just so I can isolate this guy. And also, I think that should be fine. So Z modeler all the way. Boop. So we have this kind of top form. And it's a little bit hard to see because I got the rest of the mesh in here, but I'll just probably stick to ghosting for now and get rid of perspective. Now, ZModeler has a nice little feature. If you hover over a vert, you can move a vert and set it to infinite depth. And this way, when you move something, actually, probably not depth. Let's see. It's gonna be infinite one of them. Not infinite X. Which one is depth? Like using multiple 3D applications. There you go. It's infinite Z. Okay, and this way I can move things around without having to mask or worry about, you know, not selecting something in depth. Except, is there a fall off or something? It's weird. Gonna get rid of the focal shift, and just to make it properly symmetric, let's do mirror and weld on X and Z. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna quickly clean it up. Delete edge loop complete. Symmetry on to make sure that I should have enabled it right from the start, but yeah, okay. Alright, so we got the starter geometry. Let's hopefully move my Photoshop over so I can use it as a reference. Alright. Now, with QMesh on, I can do extrusions, but I can also select a few faces and while holding, start moving them and then press shift to actually move them around. And this way I can easily control the thickness of certain parts. Another thing that is handy, Z modeler is a little bit kind of pain in the ass to deal sometimes. Right now I have delete on edges, and if I accidentally grab an edge, I'm gonna delete it. So I'll just select set edges to do nothing command. Do nothing is the best command ever, because it does nothing. Okay, so I need symmetry on my Z axis, and you can see we can just quickly and nicely control thickness. Now, so I got this piece, and let's do this. Let's enable dynamic and see what we get. So very quickly, I mean, if I wasn't narrating, it would probably take me like 30 seconds to build this. I'm starting to get this a similar shape that is very, very low poly, similar to what I had here, except like I have much more control over it now because it's a low poly shape, obviously. So, and the beauty of this is, okay, now that I have this kind of low poly cage, I can go ahead and shape it to what I need it to be, and then also use stuff like clipping. That's not what I wanted. Okay, clipping to adjust the form of this low poly mesh. Now, if I disable dynamic, we'll still see our low poly mesh. Now I want to start creasing it, and I think this should be like just creasing by polygroups would be a good start. So crease PG, dynamic on, and look at this beauty. You can also, in a newer version of Zbrush, they added the crease by tolerance. So let's do like something like this, and then enable dynamic, and you can see it creased a little bit more than what I wanted, but we can easily fix it using crease brush and edge loop partial. It's probably going to be good here. On crease, alt click, and then back I want it to be fully creased. And you can see we got like a loose shape for this part. Now let's see. Use and move. I probably need a little bit more resolution here. So if you look at the topology here, you can see it's all quads, but the topology is less than optimal. What we can do using slice curve, do this to add an edge loop, and mirror and weld. And now we can go more precise about the form. Yeah, I'm having a lot easier time working with the form this way. And the nice thing about this, about ZBrush, is that it allows you to go traditional when you need to, kind of like a box modeling approach, and go crazy ZBrush way when it's appropriate. Okay, so what is it? So I'm trying to move this, and I think it's like trying to go into the Z. So let's switch it to infinite X, and we can change a little bit of thickness of this thing. I can bevel this part later. For now, I'm just kind of I want to block out the entire asset as a whole, and then we can kind of adjust it later down the road. Maybe the only thing I'll do is like slightly kind of gently push it in. And you can see I keep accidentally creasing this edge, so I'll just set it to do nothing. Whoa, what happened here? Oh. Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to mask and you quickly use move, because the part that I don't particularly like about ZRemesher is ZModeler, sorry, is that with it can be not super precise. Alright, so I got this part. Let's add a little bit of a, like that part at the top. So I can insert a cube, or very quickly I can just mask the two faces here and start dragging and then press Control. And you can see it separates us two faces for us. And now I can do it, repeat the process without pressing Control, and basically it just made a cube for me. Now if I disable dynamic, that's what we have. Alright, and like it's not a precise box, there's a little bit of that kind of weird parallax, like this, it's not coming, this face here, it's not coming from perspective, it's actually, the box is wonky, as you can see. But that's fine for like that type of stuff, you can just quickly clip it and bam, it's pretty perfect. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to be doing some creasing and moving around, and I don't want to affect the other guy. So I'll just quickly use select lasso. Is it lasso or lasso? I don't know. Split hidden. And now, hey, where's my other? Oh, my other guy is hidden, so I'm going to enable that. And Alt click to switch subtool, and I'm gonna enable the dynamic subdivision. Okay, and this guy we are going to probably just crease by the tolerance and then enable dynamic, and now I'll just go quickly uncrease certain parts. Okay. Now, very simple piece of geometry. But the problem that I was having really with this guy is the edge control and like being able to control the curvature of certain parts. With the way I was approaching it is basically using stuff like trim to like refine, create like this basic curvature, and then polishing the shit out of it to kind of smooth it out and give it a more manufactured look. But it's not a very precise way, and it's a time-consuming way of creating this type of detail. While with the low poly form like this, all you need to do is grab like an insert edge loop, a single edge loop, and watch this, whoop, whoop, and you can like control how you want this form to translate much easier. So yeah, for time being, let's get this guy in place. I'm gonna alt click to move my gizmo onto this thing and use the outer, these little brackets to move in screen space. So you can see it goes in, the bitwise it's not, go to unmask mesh center, wait, do I need to alt click it? Okay, so let's alt reposition it to the center, and now, okay, now it works. So this is about right. Move and and back to infinite Z, and move this to integrate nicely into our helmet. So if I were to, as a test, grab our head and hide it for a sec, and then hide this guy, you can see it's much more refined, and it feels a lot more hard surface like. Free light hazmat says booleans. Yeah, man, we're gonna get to booleans. Right now I'm just using a Z modeler to create the basic shapes that we can boolean. But yeah, the rest of the stuff that you see here were done by cutting things out using booleans and adding thickness to them. Alright, so where are we? Now I've got the third shape, which we can probably do by simply grabbing this guy, the top piece that I just created, duplicate it, move it. I think my pivot is a little bit off. Let's do mirror and welds. Okay, so it keeps thinking that my unmasked mesh center is on a side, which is rather strange. I mean, is it symmetry related? Oh, I bet it is. So let's enable X symmetry and disable Z symmetry. Ah, there we go. Z symmetry was messing it up for some reason. So you can see my central edge loop is offset, so what I can do is just move it off to the side, and let's disable dynamics so you can see what's going on. And mirror and weld, boom, back to center. Alright, so where are we? Now, we want this headphone piece, and that's kind of the most complicated part. It's on an angle, and it's got all the facets. Oh man, like I've never been it's been a while since I was excited about Zbrush. Like I kind of got into 3D Code right after the last update, and 3D Code is voxel based, so you can sculpt any like impossible shapes with just one brush stroke. But the problem with that, of course, is that when you want a clean topology for your game model, it's a lot harder to get voxels to be nice. Now, 3D Code has like one of the best topology tools out there, but I love the flexibility of booleans, and booleans and subtraction in 3D Code is not real time, so that's another reason why I'm so happy that they finally brought something like this into ZBrush. And also, compared to Modo and Blender, it's actually a lot more glitch free in terms of you know, the quality of geometry that you get. Yeah, it's nice times to be alive in, or whatever they say. Okay, so I have a Z modeler. I got infinite Z, which I think is what I want, but my thing is not moving because my Z symmetry is not on. What's going on? Do I need infinite X? Am I masked? No idea. Alright, let's do it old school way. What was that? Oh, so they changed the masking around a little bit to because people were complaining, but all my muscle memory based on the masking that they had for last fucking forever, and now I'm like struggling. Okay, Let's go back. Why is it not working? Okay. Symmetry? No. Is it? Oh, I had it masked. Okay. There you go. Magic. Another thing that I can do really to minimize any kind of symmetry issues is just work on one side and then mirror it over, because it does, like, I don't need it to be on both sides. So let's delete hidden, and now I only have to worry about this piece. And I don't need Z symmetry. Oh no, I do. I don't need X symmetry. Alright, we resolve the symmetry. Okay, and nice and quickly, we have a shape. Oh, I also kept accidentally inserting stuff. Delete edge loop complete. Yeah, okay. And I can precisely match the angles and everything to my low resolution sculpt without, having to worry about it becoming too wobbly or so on and so forth. Push it more in. You really can just use regular move brush. Okay, so let's look at our headphone shape. How do we interpret this? So it's got a facet, flat bottom, facet, and another facet. Alright. And I think I'm gonna start with something a little bit more generic. And then shape it after. So let's see if Bevel is gonna do what we want. Probably not. It's not too bad. I like using slice curve for this type of work. Let's see if Q mesh is gonna bam. Okay, so slice curve is great, but it only works on one side. It doesn't support symmetry, which I think they would fix it by now, but for some reason it's still a thing. So let's mirror. Let's use slice and then mirror and weld. Now we have it on both sides, and then with Q mesh, bam, beauty. And then for stuff like this, where the mesh got triangulated, you can either keep it or you can just do delete edge. Oop. Yeah, and sometimes with symmetry it doesn't really like it, so... Oh, wait a second. Oh, it's an n-gon, that's why. Never mind. Because there's one, two, yeah, if I delete this edge, it's going to become an n-gon. You can do a spin. Probably not a bad idea. There you go. Now, if I do Boolean, Crease, and do dynamic subdivision, you can see we're starting to get there. Starting to be a little bit more interesting. And we can add supporting edges later. Okay, so Looks like if I shut up, I get a lot more work done. So I'll be quiet for a sec while I'm shaping this guy. Alright. Now, as you can see, like, this is a fairly complex shape. I know right now it doesn't look too complex, but I can sculpt it and I can make it subdivided and get closer to what it needs to be. Now this part, because of the crappy topology, is not what it needs to be. I really wish they added like a cut tool, but they didn't. So what you can do, however, is something like this, where you just use slice, and because I tried to slice it right at the where other verts are, you can just go and merge verts. It's under modify topology, or like weld points, and increase the distance slightly, or a lot. There you go. So you can see some verts got merged. Actually, I think the Z mod loader does have like a weld or stitch. Yeah, I believe it's stitch. There you go. Yeah, you can do that as an alternative, but it's a little bit slower. Okay. Now that it's all quads, I can go ahead and delete. And we have a lot better topology here. Gonna uncrease certain edges, and then probably insert another edge loop here. Or several. I don't know. Maybe just one here, because then I only have one edge loop to worry about. Now at the back we have a bunch of not super awesome topology here. Let's see what it actually looks like. I don't know. I'll probably keep it as is and just move it in, because it's going to be inside of the head, and it doesn't really matter. And booleans are good enough to kind of ignore this little stuff. You can always correct it later. Okay, so back, and let's slice it a little bit here. And now once it's sliced, gonna go back to old school transpose. Alright, and this top part goes here. Now we can adjust this guy ever so slightly. Yeah, it's kind of getting to the point where I need to start turning it into a more asymmetrical model. Getting rid of the other side. Okay, but so here's the result of just like a very quick low poly box modeling. And if you compare it to this guy, of course this one is like, I spend a lot more time on this, but I don't have as much control here as I have with this low poly mesh. So now it's just a matter of getting like making sure it interlocks properly. And I don't need a symmetry at all in here. And I can use these existing shapes to, with booleans, to cut in and create better interlocks. I think what would be cool is if this edge wasn't creased. And then the outer one was. And right now the creasing is really, like, it's strong 100% crease, but we can always polish this up later. A part of it is my concept is really loose. I just did a really quick sketch, and I'm not 100% sure how I want my edges to look and feel, so it's much easier to just adjust this in Zbrush. Well, it's easier to draw them as a line work, but that would take time, and since I already have it in Zbrush, might as well do that here. That's why, hence, low poly box modeling. Alright, so maybe this would be thinner. And then I need some edge loops here. Yeah, so the part that I don't really like is that I want to just be able to draw like take two verts and kind of draw an edge between them. Maybe it's split. No, so what split does is this, which is not what I want. Bridge 2 points, is that it? Doesn't seem like it. It's been a while since I used Z modeler, so I'm trying to remember things. Click first point, click second. Oh, holy crap, it is. Okay, so this is awesome. Okay, first point, second point, magic. Okay, that's what I wanted all along. Bam. Bam. I believe in settings you can adjust the kind of the click radius. Maybe that's another thing that I need to look into, because it's a little bit tricky to click on things with CModeler. I'm gonna experiment with this later and let you guys know in the next stream. Okay, so delete. Well, not that much. Glitch. Yeah, let's just use Stitch. Alright, so this is not bad. Did I do it right? So green one goes here. I feel like something is off. Yeah, right. This guy needs to go here. Alright, so dynamic, and now I have some nice edges to mess with. Why can't I go move? That's weird. Do I have a cat on the keyboard? Press and move, but doesn't switch to move. Okay. Alright, how do we resolve this? Move? No. Edit. Drag a new one. That didn't do it. What's going on? Come on, buddy. Oh, move topological worked. Weird. Alright. Was my draw size so small? I don't know. So now that I have more edge loops here, we can kind of control it better. And with this kind of moving verts around, there's of course a risk of moving the vert too far and making it feel a little bit wonky. But with the polish by features and a bunch of like Zbrush polishing features, we can actually resolve this down the road very easily. Feel like this needs to be shorter. And then we can move the entire piece up a bit. This guy. Something like this. In fact, so if I run polish by features now, you can see the shape is getting lost because I barely have any geometry here. But I can use relax to, or let's see, maybe smooth. Yeah, smooth is a better one. I can use smooth to kind of gently tone down any kind of areas of too much contrast. It also helps to go back and forth from dynamic and make sure that there's no parts that are too far. My move brush is broken. That's so weird. Okay, so clip the sides. And we can rotate the thing as a whole later. Okay, this guy. Alright, so what do we have here? There is this a little bit of that extrusion on the side, this part, so let's try to replicate that. I can't do it with booleans, or I can just simply Q-mesh it, and at this point I think Q-mesh is just an easier solution. So insert single edge loop. We have a little bit of an issue here, but I think this will do. Whatever, grab this edge and build it. Really same result. We got some issues here. So to resolve this, I can just easily connect my new, or split my new favorite brush. Wait, was it split? No, it wasn't split. Bridge. There you go. 2 points. Come on. And perfect Q mesh. I feel like I need to clean this part up because it's just causing a lot of trouble. There's a few ways to do this. Manual is probably the easiest. Let's see how this goes. That wasn't too bad. Alright, so with these guys, with some topology established for this part, we can just use a move brush, pretty much. Just stick to a regular move. And that's pretty good. What I'm gonna do is, we have obvious creasing issue here. Just grab all these faces. Crease. So increase all, and then I'm gonna grab this guy and crease it. Much better. Alright, well, as you can see, we're getting closer to this more complicated shape that I'm after. This part is gonna bother me, so I'm gonna add either creasing or edge loop here. Let's see what fits our needs. Probably just one little edge loop. Wouldn't hurt. One simply doesn't add an edge loop. Alright, that's good. And As you can see, we have a little bit of a wonkiness going on. I can just easily fix it with a slice. And then additionally, just move this vert. Hey, my move brush is working again. A little bit of a pinch, not a big deal. I'm being a perfectionist. Alright, so where are we? And as you can see, one side, like I broke the symmetry here. So let's just try doing mirror and weld and see how bad it is. Wrong axis. Not bad. Not bad at all. So I think from here, let's get into booleans. I'm gonna duplicate this piece, set it to subtractive. And this guy goes down. So the subtractive piece, we probably want it a bit thicker. I think this edge needs to be creased. Let's try it without creasing. I feel like I want a little bit of a taper here. Something like this. All right. Oh, what do we do with this guy? Okay, maybe try a little bit something with the curve. Not bad. I really don't like this crease. Okay, so that's our subtractive one. Let's crank it up a bit. I feel like maybe I can smooth it out a bit. Okay. And this guy has this pinch in geometry, which I don't really like. So let's move it off to the side. Same here. one thing that might be cool. Can clip this end, and I enabled polygroups. Actually, wait. Let's use trim curve. Trim curve actually deletes geometry that it trims and fills it with triangles. I don't want a triangle though, so I'm gonna delete the edge. And while we're at it, let's crease these four. Maybe we're gonna do something like this. And right now it's 100% crease, but what we can do down the road is, if I start dividing it, you can see it's still pretty sharp, but in subdivision palette, subpalette, there is actually not in subdivision, and the crease. And bear with me because I use my custom menu. Where is it? Crease. There is a crease level, so right now it's set to the max at 15. We can put it to 2. And now if I start dividing, you can see it actually kind of smoothes it out and gives us a really nice beveled edge. And that's probably what I'm gonna do in the end. And then once I have this kind of mesh, we can do polish by features to emphasize certain edges, or do like flatten to kind of smooth out certain planes. But if you look at this mesh, and I know I'm beating the dead horse, I already showed you this before, but if you just joined, like originally I went on and kind of did a more freehand sculpt of this, and I didn't have any control whatsoever, and it took me half an hour to get here. But this is much faster, and I can control it much in a more refined fashion. For the time being, we don't need the high def. I'll just use and let's mask these, move it, clip, and clip this nice and vertically to create a hard edge. Okay, so that's the process in a nutshell. What time? Do we need to leave right away, D?
Yeah, you have like 10 minutes.
Okay. I gotta call it a day in about 10 minutes, but I will continue tomorrow. And for the time being, I'm just gonna shut up and try to push this as far as I can in the next 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm looking at the chat as we speak. At this point, I can probably rotate it in a bit. So let's do the... I'm gonna hide all and only enable the guys that affect the ear. And let's actually hide my head so I can see it. And I believe, so I enable transpose all selected. And now, oh wait, grab in select rectangle. Come on. Is it the solo mode that screws it up? That's just weird. Whatever. Gonna hide the head. Swear to God, something is wrong. Oh. Okay. Wait. So this selects them all. Alright. Can I rotate them? Yes. Good. Alt-click to reset the gizmo rotation. Except, it seems like one of my subtools is partially masked. Could be a part of the problem. Great, so about this much. Hey, actually works. So just move it in place. Matching it with my rough sculpt. Looking great. And this guy can probably use a little bit of extra subdivisions. You can also use slice curve without modifying polygroups, which could be what you want depending on how you're using it. And then yeah, so if I go back here, and which one is a good one? Okay, that's the good one. As you can see, the shape doesn't match 100%, but what we can do now is nudge it a bit. And then use clip curve to clean it up further. And typically with these type of, when I have a rough design sketch like this, just select the part that you refined and inflate it inward so it doesn't get in the way. Bam. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two, and we'll continue tomorrow. Cheers.